What's up, everybody? Good evening. Hello. Oh, how goes the tism this evening? Hmm? How goes the tiz, indeed? What it do? We can't hear you, Paul. Oh, man, that's fucking pretty low energy trolling attempt there, my friend. Tell secrets or clickbait. I mean, maybe I'll tell you guys a secret later, but for the most part, it's clickbait. I know you guys can hear me. Like, unlike my phone, I've got a setup here that I can see and hear myself streaming to you. So, I mean, as a heads up for further troll attempts, um, yeah, I can see that shit. Yeah? Am I a believer in The Secret? So, my exposure to The Secret was there was a documentary that they released that somebody, uploaded online, ostensibly probably just to sell the book. And I watched it, and it was filled with a bunch of people who claimed that their lives had been utterly transformed by the power of positive thinking. That's the secret. And I have no problem with that kind of self help because it's true. Positive thinking can be, a great modifier on success, but it doesn't create success. You create success with your will and your ability and your talent. And, positivity is just a piece of that puzzle, and the secret tries to blow it out of proportion. Like, positivity just creates good things for your life. And it's, I was like, and this is different from, like, religious praying how. Will you guys be living in the old house for the foreseeable future? For at least, I think, 6 months or so. Guess I don't need these anymore. Ugh. Ears are sore. I've been in the cans all day. Oh, that feels kind of nice. Not trolling. Sound is coming across low volume. Max volume on my end and can barely hear. Well, I just told you that I can see that that's not the case. So, let your ears breathe. Yeah, man. Paul has a plan for the school shop. What? I don't have any plans for anything, man. For anything. That's the truth. You can believe that or not to your heart's content. But that's the truth. How would you stop school shootings, Paul? First of all, you don't stop things like that. How I reduce the amount of school shootings? Well, I mean, the first thing I think that you'd need to look at would be how people get their hands on weapons. Who owns weapons? Who should own weapons? These are the questions that, like, I think need to be tackled. And we don't, like, we can't even agree to have a conversation about the conversation that needs to take place when it comes to how people get guns. Oh, hold on. Let me try and fix it. This
well, that should fix it, but maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, my USB cord is fucked. So, whatever. Just another fucking thing to put on the list. Another bunch of bullshit for the list. Hey, Paul, you got any flavor aid? No. Yeah, no, it wasn't intentional. Happened to me the other day when I was playing a video game with Ashley and her friend Nick. Like, they kept accusing me of putting some fucking voice modulator, and I thought they were trolling me. They thought I was trolling them. But that sigh sounded too depressed. Have money. Oh, dude. It's been like a gauntlet tonight. Like, I don't know. You know, doing the ideology thing, you face down a lot of like criticism, most of it not good-natured criticism. Most of it meant to, you know, try and incite some kind of angry response in me. But it's just a shame that like part of my life has to be wading through that constantly, even outside of this. Like this, I kind of understand because I choose to face this kind of stuff. But it's just like everything I do. And you know, a lot of times it's the same people that have been doing it for like literally years. There's a dude tonight that popped up on the Deep Fat Fried subreddit, and I tagged him like 2 years ago in RES as a dude that was just fucking there to troll and cause problems. And we're talking like 2 years that this dude has been continuously doing this. And he popped up on the Deep Fat Fried shit, doing the same shit that he's been doing for 2 years. And it's just like, fuck me. In which ideology did you tell the moving story? I didn't. We told it at the beginning of Deep Fat Fried last night. Concern trolling. I mean, that's another thing too. I mean it's all part of the trolling. But when you point out that somebody's concern trolling, I mean, the standard response is to pretend that you just made up the entire term concern trolling. They're just like, I don't even know what that is. What does that mean, concern trolling? What's concern trolling again? It's going into like an online community and trying to sow worry, dissent, fear, negativity within that community by expressing a concern over and over and over again. Like, you know, an example of concern trolling would be like, you know, like the whole idea is to try and paint whatever community that you're in or the project that it's centered around as being something that's absolutely destined for failure. And but not to couch it in a trolling way like you're there to hate. That's a different kind of thing. To do like, I'm really super concerned about Paul's drug use. I think we should all like really stop encouraging Paul to use drugs. Because I think that his personality has changed. It's just like, oh my God. At what point, like at what age do I get to be a grown ass man? Who is that trolling? That's trolling the community. That's trolling the person that it's about. How is that trolling? If you don't understand what I just explained to you, you're either trolling or you're functionally fucking retarded. Like somebody dropped you on your frontal lobe when you were a kid. Just forehead first right into the linoleum. Something short-circuited, son. You got a job interview tomorrow? Any tips? Not really. I mean, I don't know what kind of job you're looking for. Let's see. General tips. Look nice and smell nice. I mean, that may sound like no shit, but like make doubly sure that you present well tomorrow. How's that? Hate to see you down in the dumps, man. Oh, it's okay, Chase and Tom. I appreciate the concern. Trolling. No, I appreciate that. I'm fine. It's just, you have to wade through a lot of negativity and a lot of like, oh man, dude. Even more than the negativity, which, just it's like par for the course if you're gonna, interact with your fan base on the internet in any way, shape, or form. Unless you're some, draconian weirdo that wants to comb through every fucking comment that's made on all your social media and shit. You're gonna face, an army of people that are trying to piss you off, trying to steal your energy in one way, shape, or form. But more so, I think, than them is the people who make assumptions about things that they don't know about, because just like any other business, the stuff that goes on behind the scenes is not something that we make everybody privy to. And, if you're going to fault us for that, then I don't know what to tell you, man. You got a problem with the entire business system. But, so what people will do, instead of going, wow, man, I don't know what's going on, they'll make an assumption, and then there will be reams of comments and threads and sub-threads, all based around the flawed premise that first initial assumption that was made that filled in the gaps for people, something that people couldn't possibly know because they're not involved. And that becomes like fact. So like other people attach onto it and they're like, yeah, that's what's going on. And here's a bunch of advice. And like, I got to be honest with you guys, like 9.9 times out of 10, it's advice about shit that isn't even happening. So like all of that, like I was looking at a thread today on the DFF subreddit, and it was like this, exactly what I'm mentioning, right? Flawed assumption, subthread of about 12 comments, multiple users, all of it upvoted, all based around the flawed premise that the assumption that was made at the beginning in the original post was true. And just a ton of advice and critique on how we do things and what we should be doing to address this problem. And the problem doesn't even exist. It's insane to me. All of that energy, that entire conversation may as well have been people patting each other on the back talking about a fucking unicorn. So speculation trolls, huh? Well, I don't even know if that's a thing. That's a new one on me, but I guess it could be. That's the one that's like, because I'm fine, people shitting on me when I fuck up. I do so regularly. People pick on personality flaws of mine. I do that regularly to myself, so I can certainly take that. But it's like when you're criticizing an entire project, or at least how something was done within an entire project involving multiple people and all kinds of stuff that you're just not privy to, and you're just gonna like throw a dart at the dartboard and make an assumption and then start passing out advice and handing out critique and like, going as far as like calling us fucking dumbasses for not addressing the problem that doesn't exist. And it's just like, and it's such a magnet for people too. People are always waiting for that negativity, always waiting. And when they see it, it's like, it just sucks in all those other people. And all of a sudden there's like a 12-page fucking thread on the front page of your subreddit lambasting you and your co-hosts and the entire show at large based on an assumption that couldn't be more false. And it happens over and over and over again. The specifics like are lost to time for me going back to the DP days. I like cannot tell you how many times something would go down and, a couple of days later I'd browse the subreddit and just see a giant fucking massively upvoted thread that filled in the blanks with their own fucking psyche and started passing out advice and critique based on it. Yeah, I put the chat up here because, like when you don't put the chat up and you do this kind of a format, it just kind of seems like to the casual observer that you're ranting and raving to the voices in your head or some shit. Maybe that is what I'm doing. I don't know. I don't understand why people participate so heavily in the show's social media, even though they hate the show. I mean, I do understand that, and, the example of Howard Stern is always relevant when you're talking about quote unquote haters, right? The people that dislike you oftentimes watch you more rabidly and more closely and could probably quote you better than the people that really like you. Think about it. The casual fan of Deep Fat Fried, right, is just, probably a person that listens to it while they're gaming or trucking or whatever the fuck, long haul, or working somewhere where they can listen to something. Probably never leaves a comment, probably doesn't even bother to like the video. They just consume the content. That's your average consumer of any podcast's content. And then you've got this small kind of microcosm of vocal people. And a lot of those people are going to be negative. In a way, I think it's because they're seeking some kind of a victory over something in their lives. And maybe they live, and I'm not trying to psychoanalyze everybody that's negative about everything. I'm just saying you can see it's almost kind of palpable in some people. When you read like some ridiculously, ill-conceived bunch of advice and critique about something that doesn't exist, you go, this person probably has zero control over anything in their realm. You know what I mean? From the time they wake up in the morning to the time they fall their dead ass back into bed, they're either working or they're on some sort of subsidy that doesn't allow them a whole lot of control in their life. And so reaching out via the internet and affecting something that some other people are doing creatively, what a victory that would feel like. You know what I mean? And I got to imagine that that's at the base of a lot of what goes on, at least when it comes to what I'm talking about. Did you hear about Joe Rogan talking to Kyle Kalinske or Jimmy Dore? If so, do you have any critiques of the podcast? I've seen just a few minutes of Kyle, and I've seen a few minutes of Jimmy Dore too. I mean, one of the reasons why Joe Rogan's podcast is so popular is that he has a way of getting people in this conversational stance where they're willing to let their guard down a little bit and talk normally. And I think that that's part of his brilliance. There's some autism in the chat tonight. Maybe get the kitty shield. Kitty is sleeping. And I'm not going to go wake him up just to shield myself from the crazy tism storm. Yeah, I mean, it's not super bad tonight. That's for sure. Are we done with the bubbles now? I guess so. There's no real... I mean, I could do it. I could find, like, a, transparent animated GIF of bubbles, and I could put that as an overlay, but I don't have all the little tools and filters and whatnots and what have yous. The bubbles cure my tism. The bubbles fill me with jism. The bubbles make my cares just float away. When I'm having a tism fit, there's only one thing that works for it. It's bubbles, bubbles, bubbles every day. Hello, hi there, how are you? You would you relate YouTuber and Super Chats to busking and playing music in public for some extra ends? I mean, yeah, it's very similar, right? Especially since, Super Chats and Streamlabs have become such a big way that people subsidize their income now as streamers or vloggers or podcasters or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Yeah, I just saw a little lag burst there. Hey, Paul. There are a lot of really good creepypastas on Reddit. No Sleep page. Definitely suggest you check them out. Okay. I'll check them out. Maybe we'll read one. You need a marijuana to put the rose back in your butt cheeks. Is that what it does? It puts the rose in your butt cheeks. Cool. This is not a criticism of the DFF's content, because I have no idea how to run a show. In my view, the layout needs work. Having two overlaid boxes in the upper corners of the screen is visually awkward. Okay. Well, I mean, there's nothing that I can do about that from where I sit. The layout is the best that we could come up with. It'll probably change with time as our needs change and the podcast changes. So, thanks for your feedback, I guess. Why don't you just watch it? Is that a crazy fucking thing to think? Like, just watch it or don't. Like, if the layout of the show is fucking triggering some fucking horrible OCD in you or some shit, just find something else to watch. Go find a show where somebody fucking sat up for 28 days straight designing the perfect golden ratio fucking layout for their shit. I mean, yeah, we'd love to improve the layout. We've changed it a couple of times since we started the show. It'll probably change a few more times before we land on something that's semi-permanent. But nothing like that's ever permanent. It's always changing and improving in little ways here and there. So I'd say just chill out. I mean, the last, somebody's asking about the last moments of the Jonestown Massacre and how we didn't play a whole lot of it. And, it's true. Like, it's hard to find a moment in that encapsulates what was going on, because it goes on for a very long time. Those last recordings from Jonestown, there's hours and hours and hours of that shit. And a lot of it's very harrowing, and it's hard to jump directly in anywhere and find something that's evocative of what was going on. So we just chose to listen to a few moments and talk about it, Nobody does my eyebrows. I've never done anything to my eyebrows. Thanks for asking. Mute that bozo, though. I enjoy watching you, Paul, but he tends to shit on the comments I make. I think everybody gets pooped on if they're in here, including me. I mean, look at the poop that's raining on me all the time. Look at this. It's like a reverse rainstorm of poop that just constantly crosses my face. So what am I supposed to do, I gotta poop back. Paul, it's late. Why can't you let me sleep? I ain't keeping you awake, man. You can come back and watch these streams tomorrow. Sorry to keep copy pasting this, but do you have some sort of profanity filter on or something? Comments, including super chats, don't post if there's swear words? Really? Well, let me check. Ultra low latency, that's fine. Advanced settings. I guess I'll take a look and see. Chat automatically blocks spam messages. That's on. So that's good. Embedding age restriction is off. Allow comments is on. I don't see anything that would keep people from cussing, unless I'm missing it. It might just be something that's built into YouTube's shit, like, or maybe I got concern trolled. That's true. I almost think you're right about that. Yeah, dude. I mean, like I said, I'm looking at I don't have slow mode on. Live chat's enabled. I mean, I automatically block spam, keeps people from spamming the shit, so I'm not turning that off. But that doesn't say anything about profanity. Embedding is on. I mean, age restriction is off. Allow comments is on. Show all is on. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Yeah, it might just be you. Maybe YouTube has identified you as a problem child, Chase and Tom. And they're like, take away this guy's ability to cuss because he's overusing his cuss quota, and we don't like that here at YouTube. It's the overlay, not the chat. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't even remember, honestly, how I set this overlay up. There's some website that you can, like, copy-paste shit over, and it makes, like, a... You know, like, I don't know. Do you guys have a guy in YouTube to help with strikes? No. Nobody has a guy at YouTube. I'm pretty sure that there's a number that you can call if you're a partnered YouTuber, but it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get to talk to anybody live. Did you ever have a therapist and did talking to them work for you? I'm talking to one and she seems really fake, but I'm hoping for the best. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't give people advice on shit like that anymore. I've been down the fucking road with therapists, and the last one was just a fucking unmitigated tragedy for me. So I don't think I'll be doing that ever again. But I don't want to dissuade other people from doing it. I mean, stick with it and, you know, realize that you can change therapists too if you want. You don't have to stick with one. I'm sorry if you've answered this before. What do you think of Garland's Ex Machina and Annihilation and his green light for a Halo movie? I haven't seen Ex Machina or Annihilation yet, so I mean, I'm familiar with Annihilation in terms of it being, you know, a newer film that got dumped in the dumping grounds for films that aren't going to do well during the summer blockbuster season. I don't know. A Halo movie might be cool, and but if, you know, previous video game adaptations or you know, any guidepost, then it's probably going to be dog shit. They're probably going to get Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to play Master Chief. You know what I mean? And it's just going to be some dumb bullshit. Terrible CGI Covenant troops and... How goes my day? It's, you know, hey, has the YouTube API thing been sorted out? If not, have you guys thought of using Twitch? Pretty sure it was just a fluke glitch. I did some reading about it, and a few people actually told me that it happened to another podcast on YouTube the other day, and they had to move to a totally different site because they're really committed to the live format above all. So it's not exclusive to us. It's some bullshit that happens once in a while. I mean, it's there for people who are like, it's there to stop people from using like these kind of like mass streaming devices to just sit all day and, you know, stream content on one YouTube account to a bunch of different sources. You know what I mean? So somebody has one account all around their house, and, you know, 6 people are streaming movies, full length, you know, 1080p movies from YouTube. YouTube's like, all right, you're like over budget, but we hadn't even done anything. Like yesterday when we set this up, none of us even we don't even have a TV hooked up yet that could go to YouTube. So it's like none of us had done anything. None of us had fucking streamed a single thing that whole day. And YouTube just decided, like, nope, you're over your fucking budget of 0 today. But looking into it, it's apparently just some shit that happens sometimes, and it gets reset at the time. Like, we haven't really tested, I don't think, on the DFF account yet. That's something that we'll probably do tomorrow while we're recording the patron episode. But, yeah, I don't know. Everything that I was able to read about it, said that, you know, it usually just fixes itself at the time that it says it's going to fix itself. Hollywood has ruined all good video game movies, Paul. Now Five Nights at Freddy's is just a shit mix of Blumhouse productions. I mean, I don't really think Five Nights at Freddy's was that good of a fucking video game to start with, to be honest. Just like a jump scare simulator, which, whatever, if that's what you're into. Do you hear Trump accepted Kim's invitation to meet? Yes, I did. I was, saying earlier, like, I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that fucking conversation. That's going to be one of the all-time great conversations in human history, Do I remember the video game Clock Tower? Yeah, dude. I do. Have I seen Inner Space? Is Inner Space really a hidden gem? It was a pretty popular comedy when it came out in the 80s. Did really well at the box office and was pretty well known. I mean, maybe it's not currently all that well known. So maybe it's hidden in the context of, like, people have kind of forgotten about it. But, yeah, Inner Space is great. Dennis Quaid, Martin Short. Dude gets miniaturized. And, the idea is he's supposed to be injected into a lab rabbit so they can test out this ability for them to go in with, like, a miniaturized human in a little miniaturized vehicle and fly around your circulatory system and fix things. But somebody breaks into the lab, steals the syringe that has the miniaturized dude in it, and injects it into some hapless retard played by Martin Short. And the guy eventually, takes his little micro vehicle into the guy's ear and hooks up a thing to his ear so he can talk directly to him. It's a pretty cool, like, adventure movie, man. Like, Martin Short's taking direction from this dude. He hooks up a little thing to his optical nerve so he can see out of his eyes, so he's basically like just like a voice in this dude's head for most of the film. And it's pretty cool. I've seen Downsizing. Isn't good, but nowhere near 5 whatever on IMDb. Oh, yeah. I saw that movie and immediately, like, knew I was going to run the opposite direction. I was just like, this is not going to happen. Sorry. I'll probably see it, once it releases on Blu-ray and shit. I'm not excited. I'll be excited for Star Citizen when Star Citizen is released and complete. I'm not playing the, like, wait around for fucking 16 years for a game to materialize game. I don't like that shit. I'll be excited when it's a real thing. So never, yeah. I mean, I'll admit it seems that way, right? Game's been through some development shit. Star Citizen is vaporware. I mean, I don't think it's vaporware. People are playing it, But in terms of, like, I think it's just, overshooting what it's capable of accomplishing by a good margin. What about Altered Space, the sensory deprivation horror film? Altered Space. I can't say I've seen it. Have not played Kingdom Come Deliverance, no. Is something burning, or is there plastic in your hand? Oh my god, there's a fire. No. I'm playing with my infinity cube. It's a calming little device. I'm telling you that. What's it like to have an average penis? I wouldn't know because my dong is huge. I don't know. It feels pretty average, man. Having an average dong feels pretty fucking average. The only thing burning is your smoldering good looks. Oh, you. Get out of here, you. I'm not gonna lie, Paul. That's kind of gay. What? What's your problem, man? Why do you people always want to classify shit? You know what I mean? Why is something always got to be like gay or red-pilled or cucked or... You know what I mean? Can't you just listen to shit and respond directly to it? What's the problem? You seen Dominican Poison? We live in the age of labels. I'll be glad when the age of whatever comes after labels starts. Getting kind of bored with the age of labels, folks. I can't wait for you, like, you know, late teens, early 20s guys to grow up and realize, like everybody has to, that everything that you used to be into was totally fucking lame. Because then it means, you know, the next generation, the kids that coming up behind all of you get to take a crack at something. Maybe they'll come up with something cool. Every once in a while, they land on something pretty awesome. Just this time, they fucked it up. You guys' generation fucked this one up. Identity politics and fucking labels and fucking this constant sense of entitlement and this constant need to, like, advise everybody. Oh my god, man. You guys have got it in spades. It's got to go away. I'm ready for, like, the cynical 90s to come back. Where people just said, like, fuck you, you suck. Like, I'm way more comfortable in that environment. Not all of us are like that, though. Yeah, but by and large, the culture of your generation is like that. Some of you are, you know, outliers. Paul is salty about how our generation is better. Yep, that's it. Definitely. We didn't create that ourselves, though. No, I mean, you know, you built upon things that you learned, but you've decided to run with it as a generation. That's nobody else's fault but your own. There are any number of ways to rebel against authority, and that's what every young generation is about. How do I rebel against authority? There are any number of ways to do that. Your generation has chosen the most autistic, annoying, shitty-ass, backwards way of doing things. Whose fault is that? I guess you could blame your parents if you want to be like every generation that came before you. I don't know, dude. Depending on who you talk to, I don't even know what generation I'm a part of. I considered myself a Generation Xer, but I guess I'm a little too young to be like, I was born in 1980, so that's right at the cusp of when Generation X becomes Generation Y. So I'm kind of like straddling X and Y. At least that's what I've been able to glean from people telling me which generation I'm in. I've never really bothered looking it up myself. Generation Fat, huh? Okay, cool. Does it really matter? I mean, yeah, it matters. The culture that we live in matters to some extent, right? We all have to suffer the slings and arrows of that culture. I mean, this culture, you can see it developing. I mean, politics has turned into like the silencing games. Both extreme sides of politics are all about deplatforming now. Not necessarily deplatforming, but just absolutely silencing in some cases the opposition. And that just seems like the inverse of like a functional society, but whatever. We're trying it. What's this stream even about? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. I started this stream to lure you to it so I could tell you to eat my fucking ass. Mission accomplished. Millennials are actually the most obese generation. Damn. It's a stream about nothing. Yep. Yeah, my lamentations, dude. Exactly. Maybe I'll just rename this channel Paul's Lamentations, dude. That's basically what it is. I come here, couple hundred maybe tortured souls find their way into the stream. And listen to me harp on, this, that, and the other thing. Well, TJ can call his TJ's Lamentations. You know what I mean? Rebrand now. No, that's fine. Did you know it was going to be done by Garland, who did True Detective Season 1? No. Paul's Illumination Situations. Okay. Yes, I liked Wolf of Wall Street. I like me some Scorsese, though. There are some people out there that are not big Scorsese fans, but I'm into it. I like me some Scorsese. Wolf of Wall Street was pretty awesome. Have you ever seen the show Mr. Pickles? No. Nope. I probably would never watch a show named Mr. Pickles. I'm going to be honest with you. Aesthetics matter to me. Like, the name of something matters. The way something is presented matters. And if you're coming at me going, watch this show, it's named Mr. Pickles. It may be the most subversive, hilarious, biting social commentary of all time, and I'm not going to fucking watch it. Because it sounds like shit. I'm willing to die on those hills too. I'm a pretty stubborn fuck. I don't like to be told what to watch. Like, in terms of, like, badgered into it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind people coming to me and going, hey, check this out. But if they're, like, constantly like, man, you need to watch this. You need to watch this. You need to watch this. If you watched it, you gonna watch this? It's like, that's a surefire way to get me not watch something. I'm stubborn and hard-headed and, oppositional by nature. You're just not going to get me to watch anything. No, you're not. Mr. Ego, can you be paid to watch things then? Well, yeah, I'm fine with that. You know, there's an exchange there. You know? But just telling me, like, hey, man, watch this movie. It's brilliant. I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. And then I see you 2 more days down the road, and you're like, you watch that movie yet? I'm like, nah, man, didn't get around to it. Oh, man, you gotta watch that movie. Fucking brilliant. All right. And then you call me later on that night. Did you check out that movie? I'm like, dude, I haven't even, you just left. Oh, I just want to make sure you watch it, man. It's just like, all right. At that point, the 3rd time you've come to me, you've ensured that I'm never going to watch the movie. Congratulations. You have now put that movie completely out of my psyche. I will pretend that I don't even know what you're talking about from here on out when you mention that film. Do you think the gaming industry coming up with early access was a shit idea? Early access. So we're talking about like supporting the development of a game by buying a beta testable version of it. I don't think it's a bad idea. I just think it needs to be regulated. Like, if you're going to sell an early access game on Steam or whatever the fuck, right? You should have to demonstrate a business plan that includes funding all the way through development. You should be able to demonstrate that business plan and how putting it in action has brought the project up to where it is. And you need to be able to demonstrate how you're going to continue that business plan till the end. Now, it's not going to ensure that a project doesn't go belly up, but there are way too many early access games on Steam that have been in early access since like 2012. And there hasn't been a developer update, and like you'll run across these all the time, and Steam's recommending them to people. I find them because they end up on my store page under recommended for you, and I'll click on it and I'll look at it, and it's like has like overwhelmingly negative reviews, and I'm like, why is Steam recommending me a game that has overwhelmingly negative reviews? And then you go in it, you look at it, and it's all people going like, don't buy this game. This developer has ceased work on this project. No updates in 3 years. It's just like, why is dog shit like that being like recommended to your customers? Like, isn't that the point of having ratings and shit? I don't know. Whatever. Well, that's the problem then. Like, if you want to sell an early access game and fund the game, you need to show that you have, a business plan in place that's going to carry that game to fruition. And there needs to be some kind of onus on you, else you issue refunds. Because it's just ridiculous that you can create some shitty game, get people excited by promising like, oh yeah, eventually this will happen in it. A bunch of people rabble, buy the game, and then you just disappear with 30 grand. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck. And then Steam just keeps recommending it to dipshits like me. Keeps selling people a dead fucking product that'll never be a finished playable game experience. How many times is your pee split in half when you're taking that morning piss? Like the double streamer? I don't know how many times it's happened to me. I know it happens all the fucking time. You know what I mean? Maybe not all the time, but I don't have a tally. You know what I mean? I'm not keeping a tally mark on double streamers. It just happens. You know what I mean? I have a physics midterm in 3 hours. Well, what the fuck are you doing here? No, I'm not getting drunk for St. Patty's Day. I'm not really getting drunk for any reason. I don't like drinking. You checked out a game called Agony that comes out on the 30th. If you haven't, it's about trying to make your way out of hell by possessing people being tortured and demons. That sounds pretty cool. That sounds pretty wicked. Let me see if I can look it up on Steam. Agony. Cool. Neat. Survival horror game set in hell. I like it. Yeah, I'm done with the Far Cry franchise. I'm just tired of them like reskinning the same game over and over again with a different setting. It's like it works for Mario, because Mario like kind of reinvents the wheel every game, but like this Far Cry, like now you're fighting a weird North Korean billionaire, you know, supervillain. Now you're a caveman, and now you're fighting some fucking crazy hillbilly religious cult, but you're doing all the same shit, climbing towers. Doing little stupid side quests in a semi-open world. No thanks. Take a pass. I'm not gonna say Rockstar is gonna ruin anything about Red Dead Redemption until I've played it. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. You know. You haven't played a Far Cry game? Well, you've probably played a lot of games that feel a whole lot like Far Cry, because that's one of the problems with it, is that it's got so many competitors now. Paul, did Jim Jones and Elron live in the same time? And if so, what did they think of each other? That I don't know. Sure, they lived in the same time. L. Ron Hubbard started Scientology in the 50s after the release of Dianetics, the Modern Science of Mental Health. And I believe that Jim Jones founded the People's Temple in the 50s as well. So whether or not they knew of each other and what they thought of each other, I do not know. The Dark Souls fan base is cancer, even though the games are good. I just hate how evangelistic people are about Dark Souls, because I've played enough of the games to know that they're just not for me. And it's one of those games that it's almost like the movie guy that we were talking about earlier, right? That won't shut up about the fucking movie that you're never gonna watch. It's the same thing with Dark Souls. It's like, It's cool that you played it. It's cool that you enjoyed it. It's cool that you found every little hidden fucking Easter egg in it and beat it fucking, without leveling up. And I'm fucking, dude, because I know that feeling. I know what it's like to find a game that's kind of transcendent and takes you away and puts you in a different fucking place, and you just want to play it over and over and over. It's a great feeling, and I'm happy that you got to experience it. But your taste is subjective. I don't like the games. I find them to be frustrating and tedious and boring. And that's just where it is. Is that okay? For a lot of them, it's like, nope. It's like, no, you just need to get good, man. Just give it another try, Paul's ego, man. Give it another try. Dark Souls ain't even that hard, honestly. Played it and was severely underwhelmed and kind of boring. I mean, whatever. I found them to, I didn't play them long enough to get all the intricacies of the combat and the scaling and the leveling and all that shit. But, as a casual dude that picked up the games, I made a pretty decent run at Demon Souls. That's probably the one I got the farthest in, honestly. So, yeah, I did Demon Souls. Never beat it, but got decently far in it. Did Dark Souls. And I found myself feeling the same way I started to feel in Demon Souls. It's like at a certain point, I'm just tired of doing this. Like, the novelty is worn off to me. I get it. It's a butt-ass hard game where, you die around every corner and it's trial and error kind of like gameplay. Where the whole point is at least on your first couple of playthroughs, you die a bunch of times. And then you have to run back to your body and get your souls. And oops, if you die on the way back to your body because everything resets, then you lose all your souls. Ha ha ha, isn't it fun? It's like, after the fucking 100th time, not really. I'm no longer having fun. Like, maybe it engages some level of your brain that just, it doesn't in me. But I'm feeling pretty frustrated, after I die the 20th time without any progress. Only to find out that I was in a place where I shouldn't have been yet. You know what I mean? So, I get having a game with no hand-holding, and I understand that's why a lot of people like it. But as a casual game dude, it's not for me. It's not supposed to be fun. See, I guess that's just a peculiar idea that I have, from my childhood gaming. The idea that a video game ought to be fun, It's supposed to make you angry so that life feels more relaxing. Didn't work for me. Just felt like a life simulator. It was like, oh, toiling fruitlessly to no fucking gain for myself. Wow. This is like every day at work. You know what I mean? This is like every day of my life. Thanks, Demon Souls. I mean, I watch people stream. Like, I've never been to the end game in World of Warcraft, despite having started to play it the day, I played the beta and I got it the day it came out and started that day, and I've played it on and off since then. I've never had a character at max level. I don't think once. And I've never experienced, like, the end game rating and shit because it just doesn't appeal to me. Like, that's just not why I play those types of games, So, and the PvP doesn't really cut it anyway. WoW starts at the end game. See, not for me. That's the whole point. Like, I like the journey. That's why I'm a serial re-roller when I play games like World of Warcraft. Because I like the journey of leveling a character, learning how to play it, making the little minute choices that you get to make with talents or whatever the fuck, the game you're playing gives you. I like that feeling way better than having this character that's already maxed out. And now I'm just like endlessly playing and hoping that a pair of socks drops off of this boss because I need this, fucking legendary pair of socks because it just scales better than any other pair of socks in the world. So my life in this game now is going to be running the same content over and over until I get those socks. It's like, what are you selling me? No thanks. Like the reason that the leveling in World of Warcraft is fun is because you're constantly going to new places. You're seeing new things, new areas and new monsters and new quests and new cities and new landmarks and new things to do. Once you get to that end game, then you're just going back to the same place over and over again. Till they release an expansion, then you get like, I guess, a little burst of discovery. But pretty soon you've gained that extra 5 levels and you're just farming the same fucking content again. It's just not the kind of thing I'm interested in a game. Now, I like the massively multiplayer kind of idea, but that's just not how I like it to be, presented. Paul, will you be my friend? No, Mr. Mean Mustard. No. Because you're mean. You're the real deal. You're the real McCoy. You're a mean motherfucking piece of mustard. How do you feel about paying for loot crates in games? Should they be classified as gambling? As long as like the loot that you get from the loot crates is cosmetic in nature, then I don't see a problem with it. I kind of have a problem with it if it's like a multiplayer game and those loot crates are dropping items that give you a distinct advantage over, like, games that do it, I think, properly, like League of Legends. A lot of the MOBAs seem to be structured around that, They make their money, like Dota 2 is a good example. A lot of the money in Dota, well, all of the money for Dota 2 is made in skin purchases and trades on Steam. They sell this compendium every year when the big Dota 2 championship happens. You can buy that, and it gives you the chance to vote on your favorite team and to win special items and participate in little mini games during the invitational. I ain't got a problem with any of that, because at the end of the day, all you got was a ward skin, or a new character skin, or a new mount, or whatever the fuck. But if you're getting like a gun that has a significant advantage over a gun that I don't have access to because I haven't bought a loot crate, it's probably a problem. Hey, Paul, if you could give yourself in your 20s any kind of advice, what would it be? To not waste time, like pursuing dead ends. That's a lot of, I guess, my learning experience. So maybe I'd be shooting myself in the foot with that, but I don't know. You always look back, I guess, on decades of your life. As you start to get older and they stack up, you start to look back at those decades and kind of qualify your mistakes and what you did right and what you did wrong. And for me, I think I just spun my wheels a lot. Not really caring which direction I was heading in. Now, maybe that wasn't a mistake. Maybe that was a cool way to spend my 20s. I don't know. Paul, why do you think that we don't get crazy cults like the 50s today? It would be fun. I mean, I don't know why we don't get them. I have not tried the new Dragon Ball game, no. Will you off yourself instead of getting old? I mean, that depends. Like, how infirm am I? Like, if I'm just an old dude and I'm creaky and I'm, old man pains and shit, but I still have my mental faculties and stuff, I'll probably be fine. But if I'm, like, bedridden or, like, losing my mind or losing my ability to control my body or some shit, there's a good chance I'll off myself. I mean, I wouldn't blame anybody for offing themselves in that position. How many shekels to bring back Balls Deep? Seems the autism in the chat is diffused enough that that's worth another shot. No, I put a stake through the heart of Balls Deep, and it's dead. It's dead as a concept. It's dead as an idea. Yeah, that's another thing, too. I'm going to have to come up with something else to do to you people, because I can't flush you anymore. Well, that's not true. I could still flush you. Because I could get, like, a USB extender that's, good. Maybe I'd probably need 15 feet. Hook that up to the webcam, then I could just pick up the webcam, switch the output over to the webcam mic, put the webcam in a plastic bag, and stuff you directly in the fucking toilet. It's already done. Stuff you directly in the toilet. But not tonight. I'm just I'm just too done, dude. I'm too done. Too done. Is this depressed, cynical Paul, or slightly less depressed and cynical Paul? I don't know. I don't subscribe to the idea that different Pauls come before you, so you'll have to classify that non-existent fucking shit yourself, man. I can't help you with that. Paul, can we all collectively lick you clean, then you can flush us? No, I'm just gonna put you in the toilet. Just gonna put you in the toilet. TJ is in bed, sleeping the night away. I can only hear about every fourth word Paul's saying, so I'm just going to fill in the blanks and talk about it on Reddit. That sounds good, dude. That sounds like an A-OK plan, Sounds like it's going to work out just fine. I am going to step away for just a moment and get myself something to drink. As you can tell, my throat is fucking shredded. So I'm going to go grab something cool to wet my whistle. I will be back momentarily.
Moments will be lost in time. Like tears in rain.
What have we here? 1776, dude, what the fuck? What's going on here, man? Why are you guys all pissed off again? Did somebody try and grab your guns again? Do you think every statement about how the universe works has a binary true or false? And if so, how do you explain the statement, this sentence is false, which does not? Do you think that every statement about how the universe works has a binary true or false? I mean, thinking of everything in the universe as a binary, especially with something as subjective as truth, I don't know. It seems reductive to me. Because it would, I guess it would imply that you know for an absolute certainty that that truth is absolutely reflective of reality, an unchanging reality. I just don't think it works. Recreational mustard gas canisters. Is there a rat chewing on my keyboard? No. There's a rat chewing on my brains. Chewing on my brains. It's about enough of that. That is about enough of that. Subjective is truth. How is truth subjective? Because you can talk to many, many different people about things that they think are true, that they live their lives considering are true, that they rely on a community of people around them to support as true, that another group of people will think is untrue. And a lot of those things have to do with matters of belief, personal philosophy, assumption. And there's no changing people's minds about that, but that doesn't make the truth any less real for them. So there's an example there, a very easy example of truth being subjective. But you go like, but I'm not talking about that subjective truth. I'm talking about my objective truth. Okay, well, what do you think the dude with the subjective truth is saying? I mean, maybe there are some standard objective truths, but, they're all based on our ability to perceive the world. They may not be the truth underlying things. A lot of it is based just on our best understanding of what we've been able to observe and test. But our ability to observe is limited, so... Prove the number 2 exists subjectively. Oh, there you go. There you go, 2 + 2 = 4. Objective truth guy. That's just opinions on what's likely to be true. whether or not something is true is independent of people believing in it. Well, that's just not the case. I mean, the idea of truth is a construct of the human mind. So you can't separate people from it. You can't say, yes, but my truth isn't limited by, my puny little human brain. It's the ultimate truth. Like, how are you different from the old dude standing on the sidewalk with your "the end is nigh" sign? You know what I mean? I speak to Jesus. I know, it's just retarded. It's retarded to think that, you've got that and other people don't. And, I wish we can rewind this so I can actually hear what his answer was. Fucking YouTube just insists on being fucking annoying fashion. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, what my answer was. Oh, did you miss what I've been talking about for the last few minutes? There's a truth of some sort somewhere out there, but in all its glory, it's incomprehensible for the human brain. I don't know if I'd say glory. I think you're right about half of that. But once again, glory. The idea of glory is just a construct of the human brain. Can't really apply that to the universe, especially the things about the universe, the multitudes of things about the universe that we don't understand at all. Do whatever you want with my voice, DJ Caruso. If you don't know why the world is how it is, enlighten yourself. Don't educate. That's indoctrination. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what that ultimate truth would be. I mean, it just reveals how tenuous the idea of truth that we've come up with is, because truth is just based on our assumptions at that time, right? What is the truth now may be overturned by some scientific discovery in the future. And then it's no longer the truth. So if something can be the truth and be looked at as objective, hard truth, and then be overturned down the road a piece, don't you start to call into question what truth really is? Free will is indeed a lie. It was never the truth then. Well, it was for the generations that were taught and believed it as truth, though. Perspective matters, right? We can all agree on that. So you might be saying, well, this is hard objective truth. Some scientific discovery, the theory of gravity, the laws of attraction. And that might be totally fucking overturned. Some absolute objective truths. True and true is true. True and false is false. True or true is true. True or false is true. Okay. Then you'd have been wrong. Right, but you would have lived your entire life believing something to be the truth that objectively was not the truth. Yet, at the time that you were alive, and for the entirety of your existence, it was the truth, and was treated as the truth. Sounds to me like the truth doesn't really exist. And it's just a concept that we came up with to try and categorize things, place a valuation on things. And I'm fine with it. I don't have a problem with the idea of truth. But acting like you've got it and other people don't is pretty silly and reductive. I'm too high for this shit. So the idea that the truth doesn't exist is the truth? No, I take a neutral stance on it. I just say that nobody's got it. Nobody's got it. Everybody thinks they have it. Everybody wants to think they have it. Nobody's got it. It, just doesn't exist. And maybe there's some concept that's kind of like the truth out there, but nobody has it. Reductive is Paul's new favorite word. It's been a favorite word of mine for a long time. You must be new. Do you mean morally or logically? Well, that's one of the questions that nobody can really answer for me. Whether or not there can be a moral truth or not. So I just kind of take the position that there's no such thing as truth. Morality is subjective. Truth is subjective. Therefore, not truth, right? Are you telling the truth about this matter? So the truth is, no one has the truth. I don't know, Paul. You can't know that. See why it's a spurgy rabbit hole? Right, which is why I just say that no one has the truth. Now, maybe I'm included in no one, right? So I'm here spouting my philosophy at you, and I'm telling you that no one has the truth. What am I telling you? I'm not telling you the truth either, because I don't got it. I just don't think that this dude in here trying to tell everybody, like, truth is objective. I don't think he's got it either. I feel more comfortable with that call. How's that? Does that explain anything to you? I believe in objective truth, but that's unlikely we'll ever know what it is. See, you and I are not that far apart. You're like the agnostic, and I'm the atheist, right? Definitely not mutually exclusive, though, when it comes to agnosticism and atheism, but you get my drift. Truth is simply the correct retellings of an event or action. Yeah, but you're talking about, there's a whole, like, in trials, right? If you go to trial for murder, there's standards of evidence, and there's, the idea of fucking circumstantial evidence being, oftentimes less weighty than hard evidence. Testimony is always circumstantial evidence for a reason, because you cannot trust human beings to recall an event properly. So once again, you're saying a correct retelling of events. Well, isn't that subjective based on who the observer was and what their faculties were capable of taking in and then retelling in detail? Am I wrong here? I don't think I am, guys. Their recollection of events is subjective, but there was for sure things that happened at the crime scene. Sure. Right. Something happened, but what the truth of that something never is fully known, right? Even to the people that were there when it happened. Because their perception of the events clouds their judgment Would we find this truth in ourselves at some point once we progress and evolve our brains to levels we can't even conceive of? I don't see a reason to chase it. Let's just learn and harness what we can and give up on this idea of an ultimate truth. I mean, it hasn't worked for the fucking religious people. I don't know why I see a lot of fucking skeptics and, irreligious folks wandering around talking about they've got the hard objective truth, not realizing what it is that they sound like when they say it. Let's just admit that we don't know anything. Right? Let's admit that we're all kind of stumbling around blind here, and let's help each other out and learn what we can while we're here and throw away what doesn't work and expand upon what does, and not concern ourselves with, trying to find some ultimate objective truth. It's never going to happen. What might happen is that we survive as a species. What might happen is that we, harness the energies of the universe to the point where we can travel, interstellar, distances, colonize space. I mean, that could happen. Do I think that society is going to have objective truth that we don't have? No. If you're saying it's hard and impossible to know everything perfectly, then you're right. Well, then what's truth? You're telling me that it's impossible to know that every detail of everything on one hand, but on the other hand, you're telling me there's such a thing as objective truth. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Read the comment above that one. What? Well, Jesus. Like, how far apart are these comments, dude? Do you believe in free will? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because nobody has been able to demonstrate to me that they make a decision that isn't based upon some factor that's completely out of their control. Nobody's been able to demonstrate to me that any decision that they make, any thought that they originate, isn't the result of something that they had absolutely no control over. Ergo, how could they possibly have free will? I mean, and that's a very, very, simplified argument for it, but that's what it boils down to, right? Free will is real because I like the idea of thinking that I can just do anything I want. Okay, well, you ignore the fact that you think that is the result of you being raised by people who put you in the type of environment where that kind of idea would take root in your brain. So even in that opinion that you have free will, you've demonstrated that you don't. Our subconscious makes most of our decisions day to day. Yeah. How can you have free will if you're not conscious of most of the decisions that you make? Yeah, Free Willy is real. That's a shitty movie from the 90s about a kid that feels sad for a captive whale and helps it escape. Free will is just something that people that are dumb act like exists, but can't demonstrate. It's not shitty. Have you seen Free Willy, dude? Because I've seen it. And I would definitely classify it as shitty. you could go out tomorrow and kill people. Why don't you? If life doesn't have free will, then are you shooting the kids, or is it what you're meant to do? I mean, people still have to, be removed from society that are running counter to society. So whether or not that person had free will or was a victim of circumstance, I think it's pretty obvious what the answer to that was. I mean, you take a look at any killer, any person, any person in general. You don't even have to be a criminal. Take any person, pull that person aside, and take a look at their psyche. It's Swiss cheese. It's filled with holes and rotted elements that have been planted there by other people. A lot of them by their parents, who they, themselves are products of their parents, and such and such and such and such, all the way down the line. So, Paul, what's your favorite cheese? Mine is red cheddar. I like sharp cheddar, man. Sharp cheddar cheese is some of the best shit, dude. The sharper, the better. I like a sharp cheddar. Okay? I want to prick my goddamn finger on that sharp-ass cheddar. If it ain't sharp, don't even pass me the cheddar. Okay? Gross? Well, fuck you, Lord Zayden. Why should anybody ever be held accountable for anything if free will is a lie? Welcome to the stupidest argument that you'll ever hear from a person trying to convince you that free will is real. Why should you have a functioning society where people can walk down the street without getting raped in the poop chute, man? What is that? How does that serve humanity, man? Shut up. Take your dumbass argument back to fucking kindergarten class, bitch, boy. Man, just get out of here. Ugh. Boo. So disappointing when somebody fucking takes their time to type out something that stupid and thinks like, oh man, you're gonna get him. You look at it and it's just like preschool level philosophy. You're like, oh my god. If free will doesn't exist, man, should we all just live in a society that's totally non-functional because everybody raping everybody, man? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Don't even bother explaining empathy to an idiot like that. He's not going to get it. He's just caught up in his own fucking delusion that he's got choice and he's got power and like, I got freedom, man. I can do whatever I want in my life, except for exactly what I want in my life, 'cause I got freedom. I can do whatever the fuck I want to, just like my parents taught me to do, 'cause I got free will. We'll answer the question. How can you be responsible if there's no free will? The devil made you do it. Because society has to go on functioning, Zio. Because nobody's going to drop their children off with a known strangler of toddlers. Just because it's like, well, it's free will, so he can't really be responsible. So what are people going to do? You know? You know that this dude, whether he had, he didn't make himself a pedophile. He didn't go to the pedophile store and go like, You know what? I was shopping around for sexualities. Why don't you explain me this pedophile thing? Well, you're going to be reviled by all of society. You're going to want to rape children. And everybody's going to hate you. You're going to be an outcast. Oh, yeah, I'll take one of those. But you're still not going to leave your kids around him. Right? Hey, this dude here, rapes and kills dogs. Let's have him watch our animals for us while we go out of town. What do you guys say? Free will, Can't be held responsible. It's just stupid. You not understand? Whatever. Do I need to keep explaining it to you, Zio, or have you hammered that fucking basic principle of human existence into your fucking head yet? I do find the idea that you can't really be sure if our choices are entirely our own, but we do make choices. We self-determine, right? But you make choices between what and what. So you're looking at it, you're looking too small. Look at the big picture, right? Yeah, well, how you say I don't have free will, man? I could have a hamburger, or I could have pizza. Is that really your argument now? And I have totally free will, man. If I feel like having a hamburger, I get a hamburger. If I feel like getting pizza, I get pizza. Thus, free will exists. It's like, how about the fact that you only have to choose between a hamburger and a pizza? Well, but... All right, well, let's add some sushi in there, too, because there's a sushi joint in my town. Okay. Let's say you wanted to eat yak testicles tomorrow. Could you conceivably do that? Well, probably not. So you don't have free will then? Well, but I could eat pizza or a hamburger, though. Fuck off. Zip, zop, zoobity bop. Paul, if free will doesn't exist, isn't trying to convince the chat of it pointless? I mean, it's a philosophical argument, right? So is there any point to what I'm doing right now? No. Is there any ultimate point to any conversation that two, finite human beings have? No. Does that mean that we don't, what do we do? Does that mean we lock ourselves in the closet and don't talk to anybody because nothing fucking matters? No. I still have a brain that needs to be stimulated, right? I still have this mammal brain that seeks fucking entertainment, needs to be occupied with something, needs to feel like it's useful. I mean, this is how I feel about the subject. You have a will, it's just limited. Yeah, it's not free. A limited will is not a free will. So you have a will, right? You can go, I want a hamburger, or I want a pizza. But you can't materialize shit that you can't get your hands on. You're a victim of circumstance when it comes to the availability of certain things that you may will to want. Whoopsie daisy. You're too poor to have a Lamborghini, no matter how much you want one. Guess you don't have free will. You can't manifest a Lamborghini. You may want to be, somebody that has black skin. But your parents weren't black. So, no matter how hard you aspire to that, you don't get it. Everything that's ever going to happen has already happened. Right? I don't like the word predestined. But I think if you expand it out and say everything that's ever going to happen has already happened, I think that drives home the point. Well, how do you think of free will then, Lord Zayden? Explain to us how your fractured interpretation of this unjustifiable concept is the right one. And why those of us out here just politely going, "Nuh-uh," are wrong. I don't think this free will shit will ever be understood until we learn the full nature of consciousness. I mean, that's part of the problem with asserting that something like free will exists. We don't even understand what consciousness is, really. I mean, we have some ideas how it might have come about, but as to what defines it, that's a multi-layered question. And we don't have the answers to any of them. So in a free will world, everyone must be God. Well, everyone needs to be. What would you call somebody that's not beholden by their circumstances? Because that's what's required to assert free will. You know, it's not always such a big thing as like manifesting a Lamborghini. It's like eating that can of Chef Boyardee. Why did you do it? Well, it's because I got free will and I wanted Chef Boyardee. No, it's because your mom fed you Chef Boyardee when you were a kid, because her mom fed her Chef Boyardee when she was a kid, and it gives you a nostalgic feeling, and your subconscious reaches out to that Chef Boyardee on the fucking aisle when you go shopping and grabs it, even though you know that it's probably not all that good for you, and even though you know you could probably make better spaghetti and meatballs yourself. Something about that can of Chef Boyardee, right? But you had free will. You chose to do it. No. It's a really specific story. I know, right? But everybody's got shit like that, right? Little subconscious decisions you make every day as a result of how you were raised, what you perceived growing up during your formative years, how you ran that through your own ideas of, you know, who you were, who you pulled that idea from, who that identity was based around, whether it's your father or your favorite rock star or whatever the fuck it is that you latched onto. The idea that you've got free will flies out the window right there. Our will is free enough. Well, okay. Well, that's not free. Free enough is not free. Does it really matter if we have free will, if there's a persistent, convincing illusion of free will? Yes. It matters in terms of understanding our consciousness, right? Whether or not we have free will, answering that question, which I think is pretty easily answered. I'm not a fucking super philosophical guy, but I can puzzle this one out. But I think that doing away with that delusion will only help us understand what it is our consciousness is capable of, what it is that we have here, how it works, and what we can do with it, what its limitations are, what defines it. Those are the questions that matter. This free will thing is a distraction. So it does matter. that you confront people that are, you know, misinformed on the topic. I'm pretty sure none of those questions will be answered, period, which is kind of the point, right? I'm saying I never thought of free will as us being able to do literally anything we think of, but I don't even consider free will being a real thing to begin with. Well, then you and I are, I guess, on the same page. I mean, I'm just expanding it out with those, like, manifesting a Lamborghini. It's just a big example of a small problem, right? And there are tons and tons of small problems with the idea of free will. Nobody can point to a decision that they have made that was not informed by their circumstance. And if you're making a decision that's informed by something outside of yourself, you're not demonstrating a being that has free will, right? And if the decision that you're making is between two choices that they themselves are limiting, right? This or this is not all there is. You're choosing between two things, once again, because of things that are outside of your control. You didn't line up at the I like the taste of horseradish line. You were fed horseradish at some point when you were a kid, and you developed a taste for it, probably associate some positive memories with it. And now, when somebody goes, hey, anybody want horseradish? You're the weirdo that raises their fucking hand. Did you choose to be that way? Do you have free will when it comes to that? No. Oh, jar of piss. How often do you fail? What if I told you God killed himself and we're all just microbes eating his dead body? Cool. No, Zio, you don't decide the cells in your brain nor the external stimuli on a subatomic level. Free will is a comforting illusion, no different than a religion. Yes. That's absolutely true. And it is a comforting thing. I can see why people are drawn to it. The idea that you got some kind of control. But I mean, just the simple circumstances of your life have changed what options you have to choose between. So to say that you have free will is just absurd. I prefer the, at least the closest we can get to the objective truth rather than the comforting illusion. Let's at least get closer to that, right? And I don't think that holding on to this, obviously false idea that we have this ultimate objective free will is serving our knowledge in any way, shape, or form. We're an alien ant farm. Okay, cool. That's good to know. Paul, do you ever watch that web series Rhythm Roulette? Nope. I like watching Sway's 5 Fingers of Death videos, though. Those are fun. Where they get like a rap artist and they give them 5 really different beats and have them try to freestyle over it. Me likey. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream now. Thank you all, as always, for chilling with me tonight. And sleep tight. I'll see you next time.